50% of his passes. Of course, a lot of credit goes to the Bills defense, who picked up 3 sacks, 15 hits on Mahomes. They made him uncomfortable all day. But Dan, did the Bills prove they are the best team right now in the AFC?
Yeah, if they're playing at home, absolutely. The reality is this: if the Bills can get the 1 seed, make everybody go to Western New York, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But that's their only shot. The next playoff game that Josh Allen and Sean McDermott win on the road will be their first. This group's as great as Josh has been at times. He's never run a playoff road game. And this team is constructed like you watched yesterday in that football game. The main difference between Josh Allen and his offense at home is they gather all the information. They know exactly what the defense is doing. They get to kill you. On the road, it's different. That's why yesterday's game is such a big deal. Now they got 2 huge wins versus what we think are 2 AFC legit contenders in Kansas City and Buffalo. So if the Bills can find a way to get the 1 seed, and it's still a road, they got to chase down New England and Indianapolis, they'll get to the Super Bowl.
Get to the Super Bowl.
Well, I think I'm going to pull a Stephen A. real quick as far as jumping to conclusion. Yesterday's game didn't matter more to me, more than we've seen this story play out before. We've seen Patrick Mahomes lose to Josh.
What I will say is this: give them props, because Kansas City has had a psychological edge on Buffalo because of what they've done to them come playoff time. Anytime you get an opportunity to get your hands on Kansas City, if you're Buffalo, if you exploit that opportunity and you take advantage of it like they did yesterday, then that's a plus. But it's still, if they face them in the playoffs again, do we think that Patrick Mahomes is going to complete less than 50% of his passes? No. Do we think that he's going to go 3 straight incompletions to end the game? No. Do we think that?
Yeah,
we know better than that. We know better than that.
And this is why yesterday matters. If Kansas City has to go to Buffalo in the playoffs, you think they can win, right?
Yes.
If Buffalo has to go to Kansas City, I don't think they can. That's why yesterday matters so much.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying they ain't the best team in the AFC, number 1 and number 2. You don't know if they'll lose in Buffalo come playoff time because of the psychological advantage Kansas City's had.
They didn't lose at all last year at home, Buffalo.
No.
They've lost once in the last 2 years at home.
I'm talking about, do you have total faith that they would beat?
Buffalo comes off a statement win, dominating the Kansas City Chiefs, moving to 6-2 and keeping pace at the top of the AFC East. That's no small feat. It's one thing to win, it's another to send a message, and this team did exactly that. But even as we celebrate the victory, we also focus on what's next, because in the NFL, momentum is good only if you maintain it, and better yet, if you build on it. With the trade deadline looming, the Bills aren't just spectators, they're players. They're in the mix, and the buzz is loud. According to trade rumor trackers, the Bills have been linked to multiple upgrades, wide receivers like Chris Olave or Jacoby Myers to boost the offense, but also defensive targets to shore up weaknesses that have plagued them. Let's talk defense. Even though the Bills have shown grit and character, the gaps have been real, especially on the interior defensive line and the secondary. As one recent breakdown points out, with Ed Oliver out, the Bills' biggest need is the interior D-line. That's a red flag when you're chasing championships. But here's the exciting part. This front office knows it. They're moving. There's recent buzz about the Bills zeroing in on Minkah Fitzpatrick, a former All-Pro safety from Miami, now suddenly available and drawing interest from multiple clubs. Imagine pairing a corner like Christian Benford, who, by the way, just secured a hefty extension and is locking down his side of the field, with someone of Fitzpatrick's caliber. That's the kind of upgrade that flips the narrative. Also, word is the Bills are targeting depth on the defensive line. Reports suggest a trade target involving McKinley Jackson of the Cincinnati Bengals, a move aimed at shoring up the trench war. These aren't cosmetic moves, they matter. They signal a we mean business mindset. Chapter: Why this year feels different. There's a refrain among pundits when discussing Buffalo right now. This is finally the year. Why? Because when you pair the right pieces, leader in the quarterback position, strong defensive build, and a front office willing to push, you get a team poised for an extended run. Here's what stands out. Quarterback Josh Allen is elite. He has the arm, the legs, the passion, the leadership. The defense is upgraded from the outside in, signing high-profile talent, extending core players like Christian Benford, bringing in edge rushers, tightening the playmaker list. The trade market is active, and the Bills aren't sitting back. They're in the fray. There's belief, that intangible that matters in October and November when the weight of expectations and fatigue set in. With every injury, every setback, this team hasn't folded, they've adapted. That's how winners are built. So when people say Buffalo might finally break through, they're not just being optimistic, they're seeing the alignment. Chapter: risks. But hey, we're ready. Now, let's not ignore the but. Yes, the Bills have weaknesses. Yes, the pass-catching core could still use firepower. Yes, the line of scrimmage in the trenches could still falter. Yes, beating the Chiefs in the playoffs has been a ghost that haunts the squad. But here's the deal. We've accounted for the risk. That's why this trade deadline matters. That's why we're watching the inbox of the front office, the phone calls being made, the deals being flirted with, because those upgrades directly target the vulnerabilities. And when you combine the upgrade process with what the team has already built, that's how you get finally the year. Conclusion: Bills Mafia, it's time to believe. So let's paint this picture. The Bills dominate a landmark matchup, they're active in the trade market, they're shoring up the defense, they're doing the unsung work, the kind of work that doesn't always show up on highlight reels, but matters when it counts. The moment is ripe. If the trade deadline moves the needle even 1%, if Buffalo lands that safety, adds that defensive tackle, finds that deep threat on offense, then you're looking at a team that doesn't just knock on the door of the Super Bowl, you're looking at a team ready to kick it in. Bills Mafia, this is our time, our squad, our fight. Let's stay locked in, engaged, energized. These aren't just regular season wins. These are statement wins. These are building blocks. These are the clues that a breakthrough year may very well be here. Now, I want to hear from you. What trade would you prioritize for the Bills right now? Safety, defensive tackle, wide receiver? Drop your picks in the comments below, hit that like button if you believe this team is finally going to raise the Lombardi, and make sure you're subscribed to Bills Mafia Wire so you don't miss any news, rumors, reactions, and breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Bills!